France is reportedly preparing to send 2,000 soldiers to Niger following the recent coup that ousted President Mohamed Bazoum, amid rising anti-French sentiment and accusations of foreign interference. This military move raises critical questions about sovereignty and stability in West Africa. As tensions escalate, could this intervention ignite further conflict in a region fraught with instability? The stakes are high, and the world is watching closely. The coup that changed everything. Start within the events that led to the dramatic coup in Niger on July 26, 2023. This was a major turning point for West Africa. General Abdourahmane Chiani led the military intervention that ousted President Mohamed Bazoum, who had been in office since April 2021. So, what was going on in Niger before this coup? Well, the political climate was filled with frustration and discontent. Niger has been struggling with increasing attacks from jihadist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These groups have been expanding their influence across the Sahel region, and many Nigerians felt that Bazoum's government wasn't doing enough to protect them. The violence was escalating, and citizens were tired of feeling unsafe in their own country. As insecurity grew, so did public frustration. The economy was also a significant issue. Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world, and many people were struggling to make ends meet. Bazoum's government faced heavy criticism for its inability to address these pressing issues effectively. This coup didn't happen in isolation. It's part of a broader trend in West Africa over the past few years. Since 2020, several countries like Mali and Burkina Faso have experienced military takeovers, often justified by military leaders as necessary to restore order and security. So, when Chiani took control, many people in Niger saw the military as a more reliable force against terrorism compared to a civilian government that seemed ineffective. France's historical ties to Niger. Now, let's talk about France and its historical ties to Niger, because this relationship is crucial for understanding the current situation. Niger was a French colony from the late 19th century until it gained independence in 1960. This colonial history has left a significant mark on how Nigerians view their former colonizer. After independence, France didn't just cut ties, it maintained a strong influence over Niger through military agreements and economic partnerships. French troops were deployed under various operations, often framed as necessary for combating terrorism and ensuring stability in the region. However, many Nigerians began to see these troops as symbols of neo-colonialism rather than protectors. Fast forward to today, and that historical baggage is weighing heavily on current events. The new military regime under Chiani is trying to assert its sovereignty and distance itself from France. This reflects a growing desire among many in Niger to break free from what they see as lingering colonial influences. A double-edged sword. Next, get into France's military presence in Niger because it's been quite contentious since the coup. Initially, around 1,500 French troops were stationed there as part of Operation Barkhane, which aimed at tackling jihadist groups across the Sahel. Their mission included training local forces and conducting joint operations against insurgents. But as security worsened and anti-French sentiment grew, many Nigerians started viewing these troops with skepticism. Instead of feeling protected, they felt like they were in a foreign occupation. The military's decision to expel French forces was a clear signal that they wanted to reject foreign intervention in their internal affairs. Now, some people argue that French troops are essential for maintaining security in a region plagued by violence. However, others contend that their presence has only exacerbated local grievances and failed to address the root causes of instability. With French troops leaving, there are real concerns about what might happen next. Could this create a security vacuum that allows jihadist groups to gain ground? Accusations of aggression. In the wake of the coup, tensions between Niger's military regime and France escalated dramatically. The new government accused France of preparing for military intervention under the pretext of protecting its interests in the region. Allegations surfaced that France was amassing troops and military equipment in neighboring countries like Côte d'Ivoire and Benin as part of a strategy to reassert control over Niger. These accusations were met with firm denials from French officials, who insisted that their military operations were solely focused on counter-terrorism efforts. Nevertheless, the rhetoric from both sides intensified, with Nigeria's leaders framing their stance as a defense of national sovereignty against perceived foreign aggression. This standoff highlights just how fragile Franco-Nigerian relations have become. It also underscores broader geopolitical shifts occurring in West Africa right now, with rising anti-French sentiment and accusations flying back and forth. It's clear that both sides need to tread carefully if they want to avoid further escalation. Voices from Niger. Now let's get into public sentiment. What are everyday Nigerians saying about all this? The views are incredibly diverse and reflect deep frustrations with their government and foreign powers like France. Many citizens express disappointment with their government's inability to provide security, while also feeling frustrated with foreign interventions that seem more focused on outside interests than local needs. In interviews with Nigerians, you can sense a deep-seated skepticism towards foreign military presence. Some view it as an infringement on their sovereignty. The coup has provided an opportunity for many Nigerians to voice their desire for greater autonomy and self-determination. As they navigate this complex political landscape, there's an increasing push for new alliances that prioritize national interests over external influences. This situation continues to develop rapidly, making it essential to keep an eye on how things unfold. The voices of Nigerians will play a crucial role in shaping the future of their country as they seek to redefine their relationships both domestically and internationally. The role of ECOWAS. Let's move on to the response from the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, regarding the coup in Niger. After President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted on July 26, 2023, ECOWAS quickly sprang into action. They imposed sanctions on Niger, which included closing borders and freezing financial transactions. This was a big move aimed at showing that they do not support military takeovers. ECOWAS also set a deadline for the junta to restore constitutional order. They demanded to be reinstated within a week or face possible military intervention. Now, this is where things get complicated. While ECOWAS is committed to promoting democracy in the region, there's a lack of consensus among member states on how to handle the situation. Some countries, especially those with their military governments, are hesitant to support intervention. At a recent summit in Abuja, leaders discussed what to do next. They even formed a committee to negotiate with Nigeria's military leaders. However, some concerns insisting on Bazoum's immediate release might not be the best strategy. Some experts suggest that easing sanctions could open dialogue and lead to better cooperation from the junta. The rise of anti-French sentiment. Now let's talk about something that's been heating up: anti-French sentiment in Niger and across West Africa. Following the coup, many people have expressed their frustrations with France, viewing it as a neo-colonial power that has historically exploited African nations. Public protests have erupted in support of the coup, with demonstrators calling for an end to French military presence in Niger. People are tired of what they see as foreign interference in their affairs. Crowds have gathered outside French embassies demanding to stop meddling in local politics. This anti-French sentiment isn't just happening in Niger, it's part of a larger trend across the Sahel region. Countries like Mali and Burkina Faso have seen similar protests in France after military coups. The narrative is clear. Many citizens believe that French troops are more focused on protecting French interests rather than providing real security against jihadist threats. As this sentiment grows, it poses a significant challenge to France's presence in West Africa. If citizens continue to view foreign troops as occupiers rather than protectors, it could lead to further destabilization and complicate France's efforts to maintain influence in the region. Russia and beyond. With France's influence diminishing, Other global powers are looking to fill the void, most notably Russia. As we see these shifts happening in West Africa, Russia is keen on strengthening its ties with countries like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, nations that have recently turned away from traditional Western alliances. The Wagner Group, a Russian paramilitary organization, could play a significant role here, as local governments seek alternatives to Western support. Russia's offer of military assistance without political strings attached becomes increasingly appealing. This shift towards Russian influence represents a major geopolitical change in West Africa. Countries are actively seeking partnerships that align more closely with their national interests rather than those dictated by former colonial powers. If Russia successfully establishes itself as a key player in Niger and beyond, we could see a realignment of power dynamics across the region. Moreover, this growing Russian presence raises questions about how Western nations will respond. Will they increase their engagement to counterbalance Russian influence? Or will they risk losing further ground to competing powers like Russia and China? The future of French military strategy. So, what does all this mean for France's military strategy moving forward? With troop reductions already underway following military coups in Mali and Burkina Faso, France faces significant challenges in maintaining its influence in Niger after the recent coup. Historically, France has relied on military interventions framed as counter-terrorism efforts aimed at stabilizing regions plagued by extremist violence. However, as anti-French sentiment rises and local populations express dissatisfaction with foreign troops, France may need to adapt its approach significantly. One potential avenue for France is enhancing collaboration with regional organizations like ECOWAS while addressing local grievances about neocolonialism and resource exploitation. Building trust with local populations through economic partnerships and development initiatives could be key to re-establishing a foothold in West Africa. What lies ahead for Niger? Looking ahead at what lies ahead for Niger post-coup is crucial because the country stands at a crossroads. The junta led by General Chiani has proposed a 3-year transition period. However, this plan may face resistance from both ECOWAS and segments of the population seeking quicker returns to democratic governance. The future governance structure will largely depend on how effectively the junta can address pressing security concerns while managing public sentiment against foreign intervention, especially from France. If they fail to deliver on promises of stability and security, there could be increased pressure from within for further changes or even another coup down the line. International relations will also play a crucial role in shaping Niger's future. As local leaders look toward alternative partnerships with countries like Russia or China for security assistance or economic development, it remains unclear how this will impact existing relationships with Western powers. So, what do you think about France's potential military intervention in Niger? Is it a necessary step for stability, or does it risk further complicating an already tense situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you find this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this evolving story and other global events.